Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, the core Mercosur countries. But how well do you know them? How well do I know them? The countries that basically feed the world. But how well do we know how food is produced in these countries? Welcome to Feeding the World, business news about Mercosur from Mercosur in English for everyone across the world, particularly exporters from Mercosur who want to make their exports known all over the world, for those importing their programs in every corner of the world, but also from those of you that are producing goods and services, machinery, bioinput, fertilizers, agrochemicals, agri-tech, services that we need in Mercosur to continue feeding the world. This is a podcast. It comes from a passion, from 25 years of international experience. I am actually from Uruguay. I lived 13 years in the UK, and I spent 13 years trying to explain where I was coming from, trying to explain what Uruguay was about, trying to explain that Uruguay was not Honduras, it was Mexico, it was in Brazil. We didn't have the Amazon rainforest here. We didn't have the Iguazu Fall. We didn't have the Machu Picchu here. So I spent 13 years trying to even spell my country to Brits and to Europeans. It's my passion to communicate Mercosur to the world. So I hope that you find that passion combined with my expertise supporting over 200 companies across Mercosur, companies from New Zealand, from Britain, from Europe, from Canada, from the US, and from all over the world do business here. Also trade support organizations from all over the world, universities, people that want to find out about what it's like really to do business here. It comes from a passion to build bridges, to bring people together. And don't we need that now in this world? It comes at a time when the Mercosur, European Union, a trade agreement is coming to force. We need to understand each other. And luckily, we have a bit of a problem in Mercosur, which is that we produce food for the world, but we don't know how to communicate it. A lot of the times our producers and our end consumers, or our producers, our importers, our buyers, and those also that supply goods and services to us are very disconnected. So the aim of the program is that you get to know us, but also that we get to know you in a way that's very personable, in a way that brings people together. Because I'm absolutely convinced that if we can communicate better in a language that is truly international, we can do better business together. And through business comes peace. And the world needs peace more now than ever before. I'm an economist. I'm going to try to bring some data and some solid information to you, because as importers and as exporters, you will understand data. But I will do my best not to bore you with too many numbers. You can find them online. There's artificial intelligence. There's a lot of information out there. What I'm trying to bring to this podcast is the business side of things. It's what's going on in this part of the world that might not reach you because media is very biased towards other sort of issues, which are normally how bad we do things. It's normally all the problems we have. I will discuss problems here too, because we are not perfect. We do have problems. We have areas that we need to improve on. And maybe you can help us. And we are aware of those problems. We are not perfect. But I bring that mixture of being passionate about my region, but being also very aware of its weaknesses. I also bring solid economic analysis. And I have spent 25 years being a bridge between Mercosur, between Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, and the rest of the world. So this is a community. This is not just about me. This is about the people that feed the world. This is about the people that are going to come to the program. But this is also about you. So hopefully you'll get a chance to interact, to ask, to question, to be part of this. So welcome to Feeding the World, the first video podcast about Mercosur from Mercosur in English. I really hope you enjoy it. We're going to start the other way around from what you would usually expect. Instead of talking about Mercosur and data, we're going to go straight into interviewing a farmer, exporter, and the leader of a brand who is going to talk about what it means to breed, to farm, to export, and to develop a brand from Uruguay to the world, a very special brand. So let's get started. We're here today with Sebastián Olaso Aguirre, whom I've known for many years. It's a pleasure having you here, Sebastián. Thank you for making the time. Sebastián has been working for the last 15 years as the MD of Mosaica. He's an Aberdeen Angus cattle breeder and farmer. He's also a beef exporter, and he has developed his own beef brand here in Uruguay called Sol Dorado. Sebastián, first question, straight into business. What countries are you exporting Sol Dorado beef to, and why?
First, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. We are exporting today to Germany, Switzerland, Italy sometimes, Korea, and China. And we sell also in local markets, but only one retailer, and the rest are directly to restaurants or final destinations.
Sol Dorado is a very special brand. It's carbon neutral, and it has some other certifications. How did you come up with this idea in this tiny country?
Well, the idea in the beginning was we would know that we were producing some kind of beef that is not normal because it's only grass-fed, and we take care of all the process we have from the cow-calf production until the slaughter. So we were trying to differentiate us for the competition. So the idea was to have something that the consumer wants and certifications that the consumer was interested in to see in a package. So the first certification that we had was Angus, because we're Angus breeders, which Angus is a synonym of quality of beef, which is very important. And the second was animal welfare, because we were very concerned about animal welfare, not only about the principle of animal welfare, because it's a production increase identification. Then we have the grass-fed certification. Then we have the Never Ever 3, which is never antibiotics, never hormones, and never proteins from animal sources. And then we have the carbon neutral. That was a big differentiation because we were the first to have it in a beef product. I think that in South America for sure, and probably worldwide also. We have it since 2021.
I remember that news when it was launched, and it made us all very proud. There's a lot of certifications, and they're not cheap. So I'm an economist, and I have to ask you, does it pay off? Does it make business sense?
Yes. The short answer is yes. We have also in the binder that we have in the company several other certifications, but the certification has to be an added value. If not, it's a cost. If you cannot increase the value or the price of the product that you're selling because the customer is not interested in the certification that you're putting, it's a cost. So we have been selling beef since 2015. So we have a direct line with our customers. So the idea is to ask the customers, what are you interested on? Which is the differentiation that you can pay a little extra? And following that line is the certifications that we follow. We have, for example, water
management.
Exactly, and customers are not kind of keen of paying a little more for that, so we didn't do it. We have it, but we do not put it in the label.
Okay, so when you say that you're customer driven, do you mean driven by the importers, for example, in the countries you mentioned, or driven by the end consumer? Who's your client?
The end consumer.
The end consumer.
I do not care much about the importer. In an average rancher in Uruguay, between the rancher and the consumer, you have 7 people in the middle. So my idea was always to find the voice of the consumer, which are the characteristics of the beef that the consumer wants. So that's what we follow. And in these several years of working, we have reached the consumer, and that was our goal. So we focus on the consumer, not in the other
Not, I was actually going to ask you about the beef supply chain, but you just summarized it. And we're going to continue talking about this in other programs because it's a very complex, it's a very controversial supply chain, but you go straight to what the consumer wants. How did you find that out? So did you do any surveys? Did you do any, did you go straight to trade shows or consumer shows? How did you find out what a Swiss, a German, a European consumer wants?
I have went to trade shows and big fairs of selling beef, and it was a big frustration because we are a very small company, and so the volume that we produce is very small for the beef market worldwide. So I focus on restaurants, especially restaurants in Europe, and talk with the chefs or the people in charge, and what it changed a lot was that the restaurants or consumer wants to know where the product comes from. They want to know who is the producer, who is the breeder. And for example, the first year we send samples. Now we do not send any more samples. We pay for the customers to come here to the ranch. So they see the animals, they see the production, they see how we work. And that has much, much more impact than a piece of beef.
I was going to ask you exactly that. If your customer, can actually come and see how you produce. You've sent us some wonderful footage, which we're going to share with our viewers. It's after you see that and you see how your animals are bred, that's exactly where it comes from.
That's the idea, is to show our customers where we produce, and so they can identify with the product. They know where the product is coming from. It's not a storytelling, it's the real truth. It's the real story of the company.
Yes, it's impressive, and it's not common. It's having worked in the beef industry in Uruguay for 15 years and having had contact with the whole supply chain in Uruguay and the rest of Mercosur, I know and I can imagine the amount of work it takes. What are the main obstacles for doing something like what you're doing in Sol Dorado?
The main obstacle is of a 280 kilogram carcass, 40 kilograms are the prime cuts. It's very easy to sell, and you can find a very big difference between selling a commodity beef and a premium beef. The challenge was to add value to the other 240 kilograms, to find structure and to sell them correctly and to find the right customers to do that, to buy that. That was the big challenge, and it took us quite some time, but now we are selling 100% of the carcass.
Wow, that is quite something. I could imagine chefs and influencers just doing recipes with the different cuts that maybe, it's not your sirloin or it's...
Yeah, that's our main... We do not have a budget for marketing. Our selling is a speech are the customers. They publish in the social networks, and that's how we sell.
And how do you think the new commercial agreement, the new trade agreement between Mercosur and the European Union might change your business? Is it going to have a huge impact, or given the quotas?
In my business in particular, have no impact because we are very small. We sell usually air fried by air, and it's very small quantity. It will change a lot for the other producers and for the slaughterhouse and for the industry, but not for us.
And I have one question about Angus. You mentioned, I know you're passionate about your Angus breed. Why Angus?
That's a very good question. First, beef. The quality of beef. Angus is a breed, is a brand that you do not have to sell. Everyone knows about Angus worldwide. And we are very comfortable working with Angus. Are very easy animals, very well behaved, very well produced. We are, I think, at least very, very good producers, so we have a very good quality. We aim to have a type of Angus that is 100% grass-fed, which is not normal. And we focus on marbling and in premature development because we have to sell them with 2 years old, so they have to be very easy to feed.
Mm-hmm. And Another side of your professional life is the Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef. Actually, the audience might not know this, but we actually shared a conference right here behind us about a year and a half ago, which was the annual Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef. It was actually took place here at the Grand Hotel Convention Center, and we were both part of it. I was actually a panelist, and Sebastian was one of the organizers. So we did share that wonderful moment. We had people from all over the world, from all over the beef supply chain. And now you're vice president of the global organization. So congratulations. And what does it mean, to you?
Well, I started in the GRSB in 2019. From then I was voted to be in the board of directors. Then I was in the EC, and now from last year I'm the vice president. The president is Justin Gerard, which is an Australian. It's a big responsibility because you have to represent the GRSB and the beef industry or the beef chain in everywhere you go. You have to travel a lot. You have a lot of meetings. The big difference is that the shareholders are producers, industry, social services, everything. Everyone is there. Everyone that is involved in beef is there. So our voice is very important. And it's something that I take very seriously. And the GRSB now is going to work harder in lead, advocate, and communicate what we are doing and the beef industry worldwide.
I know the organization well, and I'd like to say hello to Rory and to Josefina in particular, who've done great work. I know them personally, and I'm sure they're going to be part of this podcast one day. And just to round up, I would like to congratulate you because yesterday you received a particular mention from the Inter-American Development Bank, we call it BID, the Banco Interamericano de Desarrollo, as one of the key protagonists of the agricultural sector in Uruguay. You were there yesterday evening receiving this award. So tell us a little bit about it.
It was a great thing to be there. It was the Innovation Award. We have 7 people from olives, from forestry, cheese, milk, grain, and I was the one from beef industry. So it's always good to have a good award.
Absolutely, and you deserve it, Sebastian. I mean, I could talk to Sebastian about cattle, about branding, about marketing, international positioning forever, as you can tell. And if this is episode 1 of this program, you can imagine what the rest is going to be like. So thank you very much. It's a privilege having you here. And the footage from your farm is fantastic. And this is what Mercosur, this is what Uruguay is really about. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So what a fantastic episode 1 we've had. If you happen to bump into any Sol Dorado beef across Europe, particularly you guys from Uruguay, well, also Argentinians if you dare, Brazilians, Paraguayans, any Europeans, please send us pictures, become part of the community. It's been a real pleasure filming episode 1 here at the Grand Hotel in Punta del Este. A pleasure meeting Sebastian again, and a pleasure working with this whole crew. So thanks very much, and do come back for episode 2. Thank you. Puntaesteños se están exportando, están abriendo local en Inglaterra. Todo el outfit es de ellos. Lana merino uruguaya para todo el año, para hombres y para mujeres. El local te recomiendo ir. Así que bueno, gracias a vos. Nos vemos. Cuídate.
Por
Muchas
favor,
gracias.
Y a Josefina y a Rory.